everybody, Orlando Modern Quilt Guild. Debra Jalbert here at my house and in my sewing room. We're gonna do a quick demonstration on how I make a graffiti applique quilt. The first thing I'm gonna show you over here is some of the fabrics that I use in making this. I have right here Mistyfuse, which the back of the package shows you exactly how to use it, so we're not going to go over that too much, but I do want to show you a little piece of Mistyfuse and how it looks like a spider web. It's such a thin fabric that it doesn't add much weight to your fabric. So the first thing I do is I choose two contrasting fabrics. Choose a light and a dark fabric. I put the light as the background fabric and the dark on the top. And then over here, you'll see all of the tools that I'm going to use for this project. I have a pencil for tracing. I have a marker for tracing, for drawing some designs. These two scissors that you want to look at right over here are my favorite scissors that I use. They are, they're just the perfect scissors for cutting fabric. This is the scissors that I use for cutting paper. And then I have a small rotary cutter that I use as well. Here's my handy dandy not pliers. What are these called? Once I decide on what shape I'm going to start to use, I make multiple cuts of the same shape. So down here, for example, I'm going to use a little curved shape that I like, and I'm going to make a bunch of them. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to use all of them, but that I have them available so that when I line them up, I'll know which goes next to each other best. So I'm going to cut these apart, and these are the shapes that I'm going to decide on using next. To place onto my sample piece. So here's my sample piece. I'm going to start with the smallest piece, and I might go here, and then here, and here, here, and like that. And once I'm happy with the design of it, I'll take it over and press it. Here and I press it, and if you look down here, I'm going to use my tweezers and just use them to move the fabric to exactly where I want it. I like to try to have about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch between each of the dark fabrics next to the light fabrics. That's where I'm going to save for my stitching. I'm going to do a quick press. And then I'm going to take it back to the cutting board and cut these excess pieces off. Cut, bring it right. All right, so here's a part that you should see. I pressed the stick of the Mistyfuse to my cutting board by accident. So that's why we're supposed to use the parchment paper in between. So I'm just going to peel that off, and you can see all the stickiness of it. And that's why we were supposed to use parchment paper. But luckily that part's going to be cut off anyway. And that's what I'm left with. And so I'm going to keep drawing shapes, cutting shapes, and placing them back on here and slowly build from the center out until I get the shape that I want. once you have your project cut into the shape that you like, you're going to take a piece of the Mistyfuse and then a piece of tulle and layer it on top of your block so that it completely covers the whole design. Then you're going to take some of the parchment paper, put that on top, and use that to press down the Mistyfuse and the tulle. You can see the layering right there, and then what it's going to look like after you press it. So if you can see all of the markings from the Mistyfuse and the lines from the tulle, if you want to avoid that and try to have it blend in as best as possible, then the only way to do that is to have a lighter fabric. This dark gray is very contrasting, so it creates those lines and the visibility of the tulle. If you use a fabric that's lighter, like this light gray, then you don't see the tulle or the Mistyfuse quite as much on your final product. Next, you're just gonna take it over to your sewing machine and start quilting. Well, thanks for coming into my sewing room today, and have a great day.